Hello and welcome to NA Regional Finals, Day 1, Game number 1. Enjoy.
Expecting from pretty much every single player. I can't wait to see how this fleshes out. We're starting with Sox on this one, and let me tell you what. Bryce put together some interviews with this one, and one of the questions he asked is, what item are you looking for at the start of this game? And it is just so different from player to player.
Yeah, I think Sox from that interview did say sword, and looks like he didn't end up getting that one right there, but it's still okay because he's comfortable with these lines starting off with the bow. But Sox, I mean, talking about that information, Sox is a player who's going to be feeling super confident going into this event. He thinks is by a pretty wide margin, actually, he's one of the favorite. I think that there was some numbers that are out there, like 25 to 30% chance to qualify for Worlds. That is pretty insane for a player to be that confident in their own performance.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of this kind of crept out in the last couple of days as well. You know, Sox had a child in the last year, and you know that dad buff is certainly a real thing. It's felt like, but that consumes a lot of time. You know, you have to combine that with work, and he honestly has this I think this shadow right over him. That's his past performance. Can he live up to that again? And a lot of players, I'd say seriously, in the last 2 days, have shown that esteem for Sox and that respect that's there. A lot of it came up, and it's just like, wow, everyone is saying that Sox is in one of the best forms he's been in, and that is a huge difference for what they're expecting from everyone else.
Peak form for the first time since set 4 that has been thrown out there. See if Sox is able to prove that that is the case. An early Lagoon opener definitely makes me think that it's a pretty good shot too. The Mirage can be electric overload there. Not too great for Deja, but Sox can still play all these lines phenomenally. Sox, you were talking about, Admiral, had so much, or not so much time comparatively to the rest of the field because, you know, that dad buff, but still, even with that, his in-house performances have been absolutely insane.
I want to point out his positioning here in the 1-4 as well. Cornering the Malphite into that corner means that your Lagoon has more opportunities to cast, get those stacks rolling a little bit earlier.
Tech.
It's those tiny little things like that that can make an astronomical difference when you measure it up. Sox already showing it before we've even played around versus other players.
That's just so good he is. It's going to be going so aggressive slamming items already, but Sox knows all of these little niche things. I think everyone in North American TFT looks to Sox, especially for positioning nuances, and we saw that right there in just the 1-4 round. That's what separates the good from the great TFT players, Admirable.
Silver Augment to kick things off, a very quick preparation take, and this means getting units on the bench and buffing them up, and this is something that I love to see. I feel like preparation drastically changes the way that you play the game. You're not looking nearly as much from the economy perspective. Your economy is mostly going to be building a win streak with strong units, and this is the other thing I want to point out is the item that's sitting on the Kai'Sa right now. How often do you see a Runons there? I mean, this does not expect to be one of the final pieces that he's going to be holding on to, but a lot of the metagame right now feels like slamming an item, developing your team, and finding the right point to commit to a certain lineup. Yeah,
definitely. Sox is kind of hedging both directions here because this is very much a meta where you want to preserve HP, and that goes into, you know, slimming that Runans, but also on the other side, there's Lagoons, so you're going to be farming up a bit of gold for extra econ as well, and wow, that is such an early Goldmancer's Volibear Rageblade at that. Such a powerful leader right now. That's P-God that has that. Oh, P-God, set 7 world champion here, making a good start for it at Regionals.
Going on to Kaivix's board, and you know, I'm seeing a pair of 2-star units here that's leaning towards the Astral spot. Not quite there just yet, but you know, I'm taking a look at this Silver Augment right here, and I'm already seeing some stuff flesh out a little bit.
Yeah, Kaivix got a gold opener, only 2 items here, so is able to be level 4, has some good econ, can sell up to 10 here as well. Kaivix, oh, where do I even start? Kaivix, I think, doesn't want to get in his own head about seeing 4 copies of a unit in a shop and picking them to reroll, right? From Bryce's interview questions that he sent out, Kaivix is like, hey, if I could just play meta, if I could just play standard, then I actually have a pretty good shot. And obviously, I'm a Kaivix believer, and it looks like a pretty good opener here, even though the Astrals, like you said, Admirable, aren't quite online yet.
Yeah, I'm always looking at this too, and I see the Mage Namzi, and I just think about the way that Kaivix is going to play the game. Don't fall for it. I just,
please.
You have all the talent that's here, but I love their perspective on the game where they are just willing to take that risk every single time. It's just a beautiful thing to see.
I mean, this is a fun risk, but a risk that they are so good at doing as well. That's the thing. Already hitting more pairs as well. And it's Battle Mage, so everything, of course, in the front 2 rows, they're going to be getting more AP. Finding a Volibear, very fantastic. No Shimmer yet online. That's still okay.
It's right
Solid
there.
opener.
I'm looking at this. I'm seeing a Nasus. I'm seeing a Jax fit in here as well. It
Yeah,
all starts to
so you
make
find a
sense
Jax.
as soon as it comes together. And again, looking for the economy perspective. This is a pre-level that's been taken from Kyvik's perspective now.
Yep.
It's build out the board, start building a strong one, get this tempo rolling, and build a streak out.
Great tempo. Speaking of tempo, Ramblin actually levels to 5 before the stage 2 carousel. That is very aggressive, but surely it is in these tournament situations where players are more likely to do that to punish the rest of the lobby, especially when it comes to HP preservation that this meta so favors. Love to see that.
Yeah, I think a big one to look at is if you're joining the broadcast for like a first time watching this tournament, keep your eye on that sidebar right there. It tells a grand part of the story.
Yeah.
When players are leveling, when they're finding big 2-stars, all that stuff is going to be a big deal as we head into the 2-5 carousel here. And this is where now I'm starting to look at things, is because we already have like a big canyon of a difference in the life totals being built here. Socks down to 80, Milk down to 80.
Wow.
So far in this patch, Crowan, it's felt like the lose streak perspectives are certainly at a disadvantage.
It does seem like that, but if a lot of players are going for a lose streak, then it makes it better for everybody. Really, it's only if 1 or 2 players, which, I mean, we do have that now with Milk and Socks, but they can really get punished by players, again, like Ramblin, who've leveled up so aggressively. There is a spat on this carousel.
I'm looking at Milk finding a Volibear with a rod.
That's pretty good too.
That is a heater of a pickup on the 2-4 carousel here.
Yeah. Get to see the augments that everyone has selected as
Ramblin
well.
taking the spatula.
Oh, Ramblin. Ramblin, one of the, if not the only player who really truly favors the AP Alliance. Admiral, we were talking about that. That's really interesting to see where he goes with that one.
Ramblin on it. I'm sorry, Robin here, as we take a look at their perspective, the Celestial Blessing getting picked up early and looking like a pretty big heater here as well.
Yeah.
Gosh, that particular item just always scares me. I feel like I never have any idea where to put it. I feel like I never know how to capitalize on this item. I just like kind of clasp my hands together and go, gold, please.
Please drop gold. I mean, it's not that high percentage, 40% chance, but still pretty good. And I think the Sun is going to have a solid shot at farming some here. Hopefully can get some cast off on some low units, but Robin, another player who's on a 3 streak right now. Robin slamming the Titans as well alongside the Zeeks. I mean, this is a great setup when we think about what players want to start from their earlier items with the sword and belt range, slamming a Zeeks, maybe going surfing Graves, but right now, see how much gold that Robin can farm.
This is a close fight here too. Ramblin with the 2-star Karma in the backline already has a Morelos, has a Thieves Gloves online, and 2-starred the set with the pickup from Carousel here. This is going to be a tough one to stop, and let me tell you what, Ramblin is a player that is tended to favor lose streaks, and when he goes on win streak, the 5-win streak on stage number 2, I feel like he's one of the most dangerous players in the tournament.
Oh, yeah, I've heard you say that before, and it's so true, right? Ramblin is going to be the only player at 100 HP right now. Rest of the lobby probably shaking with that in mind.
Goodness, a lot of nice pickups here. From Ramblin's perspective as well. He's going to keep his note on it. I just feel like Ramblin has so much inspired the way that I look at TFT, where his play is so deliberate, it's so clean, and a lot of his work is preparation outside the game, and then just letting that flow once he's in the lobby. Yeah,
Ramblin is saying that personally he's been playing a bit less, but still feels like he's in very much peak form right now. I know Ramblin's been kind of a little bit vocal in the past couple of sets about not being like super, as into the game as he was in the past. Maybe, those tiebreakers kind of, biting off a little bit of his confidence. But Ramblin being here, qualifying through 7.5 ladder, right? That's a recent thing, right? He's been doing super well. He's still been grinding the game a lot and in a very solid spot here. I think especially in being part of, that study group with Socks, Goobums, and Asa. Those are some of the smartest minds on a TFT, and he has a lot to contribute to that as well.
Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
And Milk's board here up to 30 gold, and having the Pandora's bench as well. I feel like this really opens up some of the mid-game perspective here for Milk as well, where you can flesh out pretty much any team you want at this point. The question is going to be, do you have the time to do it?
The timing indeed is going to be a little bit awkward. This is still 72 HP on a 5-loss streak is rather good. You would be kind of concerned maybe if you were like low 60s, 50s as well, but Milk has shored up these HP losses fairly well, can sell up to 30 gold at least, see if we can make it 40. But the important thing is, take a look at the bench there, Admiral. That's a champion duplicator, and there's Pandora's bench, so we could be seeing some crazy like 3-star dragons in the future for Milk with that.
2 swords and a belt when you've made yourself a death cap.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit awkward. There are some comps that can utilize both AP and AD items. You know what one of those comps is? It's going to be Scale Scorns, Olaf and Diana. Both can utilize those items. However, will Melk go that direction? It's a little awkward to play Olaf if you have not had him in since the early stage 2 to farm that extra AD. He's at least playing it right now, but this is not indicative, I think, of the end game where Melk might be trying to go to.
Yeah, this is a 2-star strong unit that you throw onto the board right now.
Exactly.
This could very easily be a stepping stone. And right now, when you're leveling up to 6 on 3-1 after a 5 streak, one of the biggest thoughts in your head right now is like, okay, I'm strong enough to start breaking this. Let's build out a win streak now.
Oh, Nomsy on the other side of the board there for Kyvix. I think we were talking about that earlier. He has the Nomsy online, Admirable.
Shojin's already there.
Love to see it. It's not quite strong enough right now, unfortunately, especially Milk leveling up to 6 there on 3-1, jamming that Olaf 2 in there. It's going to be good enough to snap the loss streak. Sox, however, is still on that. 6 losses right now, 53 HP. Wow.
It's a big loss that's going there. I'm curious to see how that ends up fleshing out. And now the second augment, we're also on the silver here, so this is a bit of a lighter lobby.
Recombobulator, screw it.
My eye is not really on the recombobulator right
probably
now.
not.
This is honestly, this feels like a tough decision to me because Blue Battery's giving you like that nice immediate feel to it.
Yeah.
I think recombobulator certainly has some consideration because you have a 2-star 3 cost on your board. But late game specialist helps you get to that major capped position as well. Like if you can get to level 9 safely, or even reasonably safely, like say you have 2 rounds or whatever, you have 45 more gold to work with.
Might be re-rolling this, actually, taking some units off the bench
if
for
you're
selecting.
repositioning in that spot, that's one of the biggest parts of the augment re-roll. But he is going to
battery.
settle. Yeah, Blue Battery. He wants the immediacy right now, and frankly, I don't blame him. He's sitting at 72 HP. He's got a win streak that's going. Ramblin hit a Tactician's Crown.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
That spat investment on the Stage 2 carousel pays off big for Ramblin. That's a huge advantage here, especially because he's still topping the lobby in HP. That's a little bit fake because Kyvix, is above him, but that's just because of Tiny Titans. Ramblin's still full streaking, now has that crown as well.
And look at Sox's board just getting demolished by this Foley Bear.
Yeah,
being able to
such a
hold
good
things
unit.
down. It is such a strong unit coming into this patch. If you, especially with that item in particular, having that extra AP with the gold that you have stacked up, it is such a strong mid-game perspective, because that's one of the things you want to do. You want to have this strong mid-game gold so that you can get to level 7, get to level 8, and flesh out a real board.
Speaking of gold, I believe Sox was on level 6, only about 30 gold, and was still losing. Don't know if he rolled down, probably rolled down at 3-2, but maybe didn't hit everything that he needed. Curious about that board in the future, but this is a potential Seraphine 2 for Clear. Already has a Zeke's, a potential Graves item with that Rage Blade as well.
2 belts standing out?
2 belts as well.
I will say that I feel like Seraphine stood out as one of the strongest comps at the start of these last 2 patches, but since stuff is starting to get developed, it does feel a little bit differently. Like this comp is still strong, but it's not like the dynamite of the set anymore as we've started to learn a lot of the late game perspective.
It's still a composition that's very good at winning lobbies. When we take a look at Clear as well, Clear from his tournament performance in set 7 has a 37% forced or 8th ratio. That's a pretty high number there. To 37% of games win first or 8th?
That is very volatile.
Extremely.
It is. This isn't even like a light number of games either. We're talking like this is like 50 games that Clear has played with this kind of perspective. You know, I look back to one of the cups that he had played in. Boop and I had a chance to actually send an interview out to all the players and have them answer questions. And Clear's perspective on it, he said, if the Soju special is going to level 9 and then getting knocked out, the Clear special is on 3-5, going to level 7, rolling all your gold, and then getting eliminated before the 3rd augment. And I just lost it laughing when I read that, because that's his quote on himself at that point. That's how volatile of a player Clear can be. It is going to be first, or it is going to be 8th is often his outlook.
Oh man, probably not in the position to do it this game because didn't have that much gold to work with after finding things like a Seraphine 2. But as we reach our stage 3 carousel, the stories are being told right now, at least apart in terms of the HP numbers. Not indicative of anything quite yet. There was still a spatula there. I believe Kyvix picked that one up, but P got the volley 2 now with triple items. Talking about that Goldmancer, if anyone in this game has found that Shimmer Scale, has found that volley early game, they're feeling so good right now, especially because it's specifically that Goldmancer's.
And with the Pandora's Bench that Preston got to pick up, you're getting to buy pretty much any dragon you find right now and letting it simmer until you find that right spot, building a Hand of Justice here on Jace. This is just looking like a strong board board in general. Like I don't want to face Prestivan right now.
Looking like a good Soifin pivot here with these items as well.
Yep.
A BT and then a Hudge. Prestivan's pretty comfortable with that line as well.
Sox up to 7.
Sox up to 7. 20 gold. Not the worst, but still, there's that same Runan's Kai'Sa that we saw in the early game. But if you think about Kai'Sa and how she wants to bridge the gap between early to mid to late game, it's really with items like Blue Buff, Morello's as well, but Sox is trying to hold his own with just what he got.
You got to eliminate what's there. And, you know, I'm starting to feel it a bit for Sox here. He just keeps facing Volibear after Volibear that has the Shimmer skill online. It's just a tough spot to be facing. You know, those are just rough matchups you're going through. Ramblin' streak, the king can bleed.
Finally. Still pretty good to streak for 8 rounds in a row before finally taking your first loss. Not too unhappy about that one.
Doesn't look like it's a position for Sohm here from Prestivan's spot, so that's likely to go again.
Any Shioyus? Any Siphons, please?
He's going up to 80. He says, give me the max on the gold.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's great, right? When you can get away with it. It's not like Prestivan needs to level up to 7 right now to be stronger. In fact, just the gold to synergize with that Goldmasters is exactly what P-God wants.
Yeah, tiny little nuance here with the Shimmer Scale perspectives. The items that benefit from having up to 80 gold, buy at the end of the round if you're not rolling.
Exactly.
It's a tiny little thing, but the first player to point that out to me was actually Dan and Bryce in combination, where I just kept buying the units, and then Frodan just said, hey, stop buying stuff right now. You're not rolling. Just wait till the end of the round. I was like, ah! I just see it and I get so excited.
I know. You're like, oh, see unit. I need it. Click. But no, it's going to be, again, those little micro niche things, right, that we were talking about since the beginning of the game. That's what we're going to be constantly having our eyes out for once we look at, you know, the fact that this is the regional finals. Everyone's going to be pulling out that kind of tech.
It's a lot easier to see when your brain's not going a million miles an hour trying to build out a team.
Yeah. Which, I mean, some players, their brains are going to be doing that. There's some players who are newer to the regionals kind of, regionals field here, right? And that's a ton of pressure to be at, like, your first big event. Some of these players are mainstays in terms of competition here. But first, Sox, big roll down.
Yeah, I think the preparation thing here is a big deal too. You know, Sox is one of the first players I saw rolling during creep rounds. It's just like a free round for your investment, but at the same time, when you decide to roll in this perspective, what you're doing is you're buying time. You're giving yourself just that little bit of extra moment to make key decisions that can absolutely be a big deal. He was the first player I ever saw to do this, and frankly, I've seen it pay off time and time again. This has become like a normal perspective of playing the game.
Exactly. According to Bryce's interview, Sox said he is the best Soifin player by far on the server. So we get to see that happen in real time right now, Admirable. Can he make this pivot happen from behind? He already has 1 Shioyu, 1 Siphon, but is still not where the composition wants to comfortably rest.
It is a pair of Shioyus as well. One in play, one on the bench. It's full stack on the one in play. 2 stacks on your Siphon here as well. And frankly, the items feel like they're pretty good for this. I feel like despite the fact that Sox is at the 39 right now, the lowest health in the lobby, I feel like this is a real opportunity to come back.
Definitely is. The road to come back right now starts here for Sox. Still, again, like we mentioned, only the tier 1 dragons, and really not that many items as well. Just 1 Runans for the Shioyu. Isn't be enough. Doesn't look like it versus Ramblin here. Ramblin has that Titan's Giant Slayer on his area in the back line.
I mean, how is he going to take care of this Shioyu? It feels like it. I mean, it needs to be done right now.
It's getting a little bit close here. Admirable is there if she can get an extra cast off, able to make it happen.
The
but Shioyu's casting the Runans.
Oh, it's so close! The Jade statue can't deliver it. Sox taking another loss here. He hasn't been able to string together some wins, but I feel like he is really close to this board. Catching online.
Close.
Celestial Blessing, Cybernetic Shell, and Ascension offered. If this is a high AD lobby, the Cybernetic Shell is looking great. I'll never turn down a Celestial Blessing. It's like the more healing you have, the more healing you have. It's going to be tougher to deal with. This board feels like it's about to get really strong from Sox's perspective, but again, there are going to be bad matchups. Is this enough life total?
All great picks potentials there in the open choices for Sox, but goes for the double Celestial Blessing. That's really going to help, especially when paired with the you know, items like Hand of Justice, like Bloodthirster that Shioyu and Siphon both like, but not quite there yet as Shyvana. But that's not what we want. Thankfully, does tier up the Pantheon. Still, being on a pair of these dragons, stuck level 7, rolling it down at pretty much every single turn. If Sox hits, he's strong, but not quite there.
I mean, a pair of each dragon's feeling good, especially when you have the stacks for it.
That's true.
The life total is really what's making me nervous about this one. It is such a precious resource on this patch.
Yeah. This is a spot that probably on average, assuming that Sox needs a couple more turns to hit these dragons, might be looking at like a 5th or a 6th at best from the spot.
It's feeling pretty good. You know, Thieves' Gloves, I think, is a very strong item onto Siphon right now. He's really just like, does it work okay? Okay, yeah, it's fine. You know, Siphon isn't your primary carry, just the ability is very strong. You stun some units, and then you get a big hit onto wherever he lands.
Moving over to Malala. Piling one of the more, I would say, controversial comps, as some players think that Surfing Graves is pretty overrated. However, in-house statistics, right? Sure, it's just in-house as players are practicing, but Surfing Graves definitely shows up.
These are some strong augments for this, too. You have Thrill of the Hunt, you have First Aid Kit, and you have Better Together. Like, you're getting a benefit from every perspective of this composition right now.
Looks so good. The only thing that's not looking good here is 13 gold, no Graves. It's going to be an Athelia's, too. That's carrying the last Whisper right now. Still only on a single Seraphine. Maybe the Seraphine Graves naysayers had something going their way, huh?
I don't know. This is feeling like it's benefiting Malala in this particular fight anyway. I'm always a bit afraid of a Volley Bear aspect, but yeah, it did get chewed through. It wasn't strong enough from this one.
Not quite. Kind of mirror matchup there, but Graves diff.
On Robin's side, you know, the augments look very similar to what we're seeing from Malala's perspective.
Healing, First Aid, and then we get the Better Together. Wow, what do you know?
Picking up a win. Prestivant now on the hot streak. Ramblin taking another loss here as we head into the 4-4 carousel.
More
spatulas being offered.
Every single carousel
spats. Graves with a bow?
Oh, that's pretty good. Malala's deciding. Kind of option paralysis here, but finally ends up picking it.
I think it's the Bard that was drawing their attention in that spot, right?
I mean, I suppose. Being on level 7, though, you don't really get to tech that in, and Malala's being stuck on such little gold. Sure, it's still very appealing, but has to think, what can give me power right now? Because Malala is at the bottom of the lobby in terms of HP, so has to think about stabilizing first.
Ramblin got another spatula.
Is he making 2 tech?
I don't know. I'd be happy to see taking a look at Prestivant's board here. My goodness, this is just strength. Like, what on earth? Like, it's going to be so hard to change this out just because everything's looking so good.
I know. Thinks that now is the time to start the swap. Oh, this Jace too. Even if Jace is not played for the whole game, which it probably won't be, it's still so good at the mid-game carry. And look at his spot, right? 5 streak, over 80 HP, top of the lobby. Doesn't even need to play the Siphons right now, but is at level 8, you know, still a comfortable amount of gold.
Comfortable amount of health, too. Like, this is Prestivant.
Still carrying the Volibear, which is going to be netting him more gold every single round because it's still strong enough to be getting a lot of kills.
Goodness, this board is just so strong. Sock's going to be taking another loss here as well. He can't chew through this Jace right now. And frankly, how do you? My gosh, the items are stacked on this one. Malala taking another hit. Clear taking a hit as well.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Xayah being played here. And, ooh, not quite good enough. Get that round win.
That was a tie.
That was close, though. Did it last long for a tie?
Oh, whoa, wait a minute. He can't help himself.
Kyvix, that was a Nomsy 1 when we saw it just a couple of rounds ago, but 3 stars it. Kyvix, you have been blessed by the Mort Dog himself. I love to see it, personally.
It's a mage Nomsy too, so it kind of, you know, it fleshes out the rest of what that composition is going to look like. Ramblin hitting the 2-star Hecarim.
I love it.
The Hecarim had a spatula when it was taken off of the carousel as well. I'm curious to see where that ends up going, and I think it could very easily be a Cavalier spatula, despite the fact that they're not super strong.
It's okay.
On this particular patch, it's not a bad one. It's going to change the way that you want your frontline items to look.
Super unhappy with it. Clear. Another Seraphine Graves player. Is that 3 in this lobby? It might be.
Yeah, but this was like transitioned into the Lagoon thing in the the mid-late stage of this right now. We're looking at less than 50 stacks on this one. Like 140 is really where those Lagoon stacks start to go, okay, well maybe I can get this out of the perspective right now. We are far away from that.
Very much
so.
so.
Oh my goodness, what a hit too.
Clear. Taking a huge hit. Malala down to single digit as well. Might be seeing some players go down very shortly, but at least they make it to the Treasure Dragon. Whew.
Yeah, look at that too. Milk, just a couple of items here on this 2-star Xiaoyu. This is a big one for Ramblin now, looking at that board that was either a Swift Shot or a Guardian that got made off that one. It is a Swift Shot. We see the Guardian augment that's in place there.
Yeah.
Also seeing the Future Sight as the second one. Where are you going on this Treasure Dragon? Like,
This is a strange spot for Ramblin', but he's playing it very, very well. This is a board that might like to get up to that 4 dragon kind of state, but rolling it down.
2 stars.
Yeah, needs the 2 stars. Not really. Oh, that's a pair of
big
Aurelian
one.
Souls. Wait a minute.
I was just looking at the 2-star Itis that came into play here.
That's a good one too.
I feel like the items for the Aurelian Soul just aren't here. Yeah, doesn't think so
Morello's
either.
has to roll past it.
Gonna keep going too. Ramblin' says it's not strong enough. I need to build it out. There's a Rakan. I feel like that's a good find. The Varus items getting swapped over. Yeah, let's get this Morello's onto the Hecarim.
He's very good at applying that to a lot of units. And I was getting so excited about the Aurelian Souls because it's one of the units that can really be, I think, the most capped board in TFT currently, at least from the perception of North America. Ramblin' not quite in that position, though, so this is still a good way to settle. Unfortunately, has not hit the Xayah 2 yet. These are kind of suboptimal Xayah items. They're still fine, but really, all that power is going to be in the newly upgraded Itis front line. Can't hold up to Sox's Xiaoyu 2.
Look at that Xiaoyu getting the natural healing from the Celestial Blessings. It's fully prepped right now. The items look like they're just a banger, but I'll tell you what, getting through the Guardians does feel difficult, and I feel like this is a Xayah 2 diff right now, and it still might be able to hold
the
on this
Giant
one.
Slayers.
Itis has just held so long in the front line.
Hecarim gets another cast.
The Hecarim drawing the attention so that the Xayah stays safe. That's such a big difference.
Oh, Sox dropping to single digit, but Malala dropping entirely. Someone has to take an 8th place admirable when we get the best players together. Unfortunately, Malala takes that mantle here in game number 1.
Sox just, it feels like matchup after matchup, it's been right there, but not enough.
Oh, there's the Siphon!
Gets found. This is a lock-in for Sox. Can he live long enough, and is this strong enough to keep him there?
One more round.
It feels so much like the Siphon comp is strong when everyone else isn't reaching their peak power on their composition. For Sox, though, he was playing from behind. He's found this Siphon a little bit late, and his health total was low. I feel like the Siphon comp is best when you're playing from ahead, and Sox was not ahead in this lobby.
No. Not at all. Needs to pray that this is a good matchup here. Going to be versus Clear. Another player stuck on level 7, but Clear has the Seraphine 2, has the Graves in the backline, and the Zeeks with it. Is it enough? Can the Xiaoyu do it?
I will say that Zyra stun, even though it was Jades and Xiaoyu here, it's like the Xiaoyu is the one you're after, is what it feels like. Graves getting targeted right now, and I don't think the Graves is going to make it through. And let me tell you what, if the Graves doesn't make it through, the Xiaoyu is going to chew through the rest of that line.
Sox hangs on. And doesn't quite send Clear packing yet, but it's close down to single digit as well. Sox will now have Siphon 2. Will now get to save economy and try to level up to 8. If Sox can make this comeback work, that would be such an impressive run. And these are some pretty decent items in the TG to start doing it with.
I mean, you're done for now on level 7. I'll put it that way.
We're chilling. 0 gold, though. Just hoping.
Perfectly set up.
Here we go.
How much better could it be?
Well, you know, level 8, maybe like 50 more HP.
We're assuming
maybe.
that you're stuck on level 7.
Of course. Just don't be level 7. Just don't be stuck.
So Prestivant still on the heater.
Opener.
Milk now on the heater as well. Ramblin' down to 57 in this one. It is an absolute canyon between the top 3 and those bottom 2 spots. Or in that bottom spot, it feels like. These matchups, there's so much tense to them, and now it's basically the mirror match. It's like, do you favor the Jade or do you favor the Siphon? Is what this looks like right now.
Yeah, I mean, Siphon has 2 really big threats right now. Sure, the Jace is going to be a threat for Milk, but it's getting dealt with pretty handedly. Already down. Siphon, though, versus the Xiaoyu.
Feels like it's going to be tough. And look at the Pantheon still just like looking like virtually untouched from this spot. Xiaoyu, that's the wrong unit!
Uh-oh, now it's a little bit of 2v1 action here, but the true damage crit's coming out. The Xiaoyu gets the big damage and is going to get the job done. Sox is going to go out with that in 6th place. Not able to make the comeback happen. The back-to-back Worlds appearance Milk says, no, Sox, this is my tournament.
Wow, I look at this carousel, I see Robin getting a Guardian spatula here. It feels like Guardians is like the primary front line right now. And Milk gonna land on the Shojin here. Ramblin' getting another Swift Shot emblem.
That's what, a 5 you can play comfortably?
It's like
That's
16
crazy.
Swift Shot.
Yeah,
It feels
I
like you can play at this point. Guild Soraka being left.
Wow.
You know,
no guild players.
Guild feels like it's a very niche position for it. It's like when you're set up for it, you're set up for it. But when you're not, you're definitely not. 8 Seraphine's here as well for Robin. It just feels like this is a classic reroll position.
Another player stuck on level 7 trying to roll for these big hits is one off, but the really interesting thing here is now for Guardians, that's only a Zac 1 with no items in the front line, so that's going to fall over pretty much immediately. Gonna maybe have a half a second longer now with the 4 Guardian online, but not a great spot for Robin.
Nice Shroud.
Beautiful Shroud.
Just the unit strength there. That's really my big question right now. You're not only are you getting Zephyr'd onto your Seraphine there, but your Seraphine items are not super strong at the moment. This is all Graves, and Graves is getting targeted now without an Edgenite.
No, that's going to be it. Robin not able to hang on any longer. Gets pretty much full wiped there in that fight out in 5th. Our top 4 is here, Admirable.
Milk taking a hit here as well. Kyvik's hanging on too. It feels like they've built this out pretty stably.
There's the Nomsy.
Look at those items on the Nomsy as well. Infinity Edge, Jewel Gauntlet, Shojin. This is going to be cranking those fireballs, and it is doing it hard.
This is an absolute treat to watch. Kyvik's in his element. There's a Skarner 1 on this board with a ZZ Rot and a Shroud, but Kyvik's does not care.
Look at that 7 mage. It is so beautiful to see that. Honestly, this is like almost like a full Tiny Titans contribution that got taken here as well. It feels like this is the kind of augment that fits perfectly with how Kyvix is going to play the game.
It really does. I just want to see this Nomsy cast. It's going to delete anything that it touches. Gets stalled here for a moment. Oh, not exactly where he wanted to shoot. There's still the Xayah online in the back line.
Still a lot of damage, though. If you're going to take a loss, I'll tell you what, the Nomsy's cutting a lot of the damage sometimes.
Here we go.
It's just the Guardians here just providing so much against this.
Too much.
Ramblin's team is just so strong on its resilience.
Man. Ramblin, even without an AP line that he favors, still able to look so strong on a kind of a comp that no one really came in favoring, right? Xayah's kind of on the bottom side of the AD flex kind of compositions there, but Ramblin's making it look easy.
It's got to be in the right place at the right time.
And here it is.
I feel like he may have found it. Prestivant we saw at 50 gold, taking a hit still at 58 HP. My goodness, how are you going to stop Prestivant in this one? It feels like he has so much time to cap the board.
He does. I think Prestivant is a player that if you give him time to cap out a level 9 kind of full-strength board, he does it very, very well, especially his improvement just as a player over the past couple of sets. He's done phenomenally, especially in that regard.
Kyvik's not looking for a second Sunfire Cape, I can tell you that much.
No Reforger as well. 40 gold.
I mean, it's 2-star some stuff here.
Like the Skarner.
Yeah, I mean,
Syra.
We're effectively at level 9 with the Tactician's Crown there,
yes.
So not too much to worry about. You're not having necessarily the 5-cost rolls, but for Prestivant, we are now at 9. And I'll tell you what, it's not a ton of gold to work with here, but you do have the Pandora's Bench. So time is really, I think, the key factor in addition to whether or not you hit at this point.
So I think we have to talk a little bit about how Prestivant went level 9 as opposed to having that Pandora's Bench and not going for the tier 3 dragons like Shioyu and Siphon. Is it going to be worth it? I don't know. Soraka has some fantastic items in the back line, and it gets Zephyr'd.
Look at that Hecarim just cranking in the attack speed. Like, this is so much CC you get over the fight because the Hecarim's not a tank. The Hecarim is, it's like a bootleg Bard at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. Probably better, in fact, because it's going to still be able to be tanky when units get to it, but don't even get the chance. Prestivant's board just gets full of wiped there. Ramblin'. Wow, what can he do?
This is really tough. Ramblin' on the hot streak now. Kyvix, this feels like a pretty tight top 4, honestly. I feel like it can kind of go either way, but for Prestivant, a lot of this is going to shape up to how these dragons end up panning out, because that looks like where he's headed right now is to go for the actual cap on the board. Yeah,
looks like it, finally. Soraka, once it does get time to heal and get multiple cast-offs, especially as that Archangel stacks, Prestivant's board is not really going to die very easily. And he still has that Jason there with triple items as well. I think this is definitely a board that can deal with Kyvix's, but let's see where this Nomsy cast goes and if it can do enough damage.
It's a big Shroud in the middle there, too. The longer it takes that Soraka to cast, the less of an impact it's going to have. And look at that board get melted
gets the cast
by the Nomsy in this spot. It is way too late for that Soraka to make an impact, I feel.
Unless Siphon does not get the charge, Nomsy is going to be able to take it out. Still, players are not low enough HP to be in real danger right now, but it's evening out as Milk does drop dangerously low.
Ramblin' is just cranking in this one. I will say that Ramblin's team looks so strong to the rest of the comparison right now. There's
Yeah.
so much work that needs to be done because his team just absolutely has the right perspective now. It's a lot of CC in the middle of the fight. Give the Zaya as much time as you can.
Milk. Going for tier 3 Xiaoyu. Needs to live the round and have one of Sohm or Siphon hit Xiaoyu, and it's going to be lobby winning potential. Needs to survive just this next round, though, to have that chance.
I think that this is one of the matchups you can do it in. You know, Preston in the middle of a transition with that Pandora's bench. Milk trying to cap with the Pandora's bench. This is totally different perspectives. And right now, that Jace drawing the attention and just living so healthy throughout this fight. I think Milk is going to last another round. And heading into the carousel after this, you have a lot of ways to pick this up and draw this attention. The Jace is still holding.
It's still there.
Is this enough, though? But now the Xiaoyu's being targeted. The Edge of Night, I feel like, is going to draw this out, though. That Jace is not at the right spot right now. Stop attacking the Jade Idol!
Oh, it might be enough, actually, for Milk to survive here. Yes, Xiaoyu, one more cast, and it's going to do it. Milk lives another round and gets the chance for the Xiaoyu 3.
Oh, boy.
Carousel. Bit of intermission, Admiral. Is it going to be there? Take your bets. Is it going to be Xiaoyu 3?
I'm just going to say yes because that's the most exciting perspective of it right now. Like, what better difference to make than it looks like, oh, well, Milk, you know, you made it to the top 4, but that wasn't enough. That can still change. I'm telling you, this particular patch in general has so many inflection points available.
Let's see it. Show me Xiaoyu 3. Double-itis. Not quite. Hey, it's still another round if Milk wins, though. We get to try this again.
Just played against Preston. I feel like that was the team that you definitely could beat. Ramblin on the hot streak right now. Again, I think his board is absolutely the strongest right now.
Playing against Kyvix in the next round against the Nomzy 3.
I do feel like this could beat the Nomzy 3. You have a healing aspect with the Soraka. You have the Jade in place. You're like the kind of team that can do it, but is this enough? 7 Jade is a lot of Jade. Oh. I will say, though, the Nomzy looks completely unpressured right now.
Yeah, Xiaoyu is on the opposite side. It's going to take so long to get there. Kyvix looking strong in this matchup.
Oh, my. That was a huge cast on Nomzy's side.
Jace, though? Can it do enough damage?
They're just not touching Nomzy at all. It's too much damage.
Milk getting eliminated by Kyvix. Preston falls as well. Top 2 situation. Ramblin still streaking, and Kyvix has somehow snuck his way into top 2.
Wow. I mean, how do you beat this board? There's 2 Zephyrs in play.
Yeah.
His items are stacked. His team is so resilient. Going up to level 9 to add more units into play. How are you going to beat this?
If we asked, if we polled a bunch of people and say, what are the top two compositions right now for Game 1 in Lobby A, I don't think we'd be saying 5 Swift Shot Zaya or a Nomzy 3.
Yeah.
But these players have got here with these kind of unorthodox lines that are making it look so, so good. Can Ramblin close it out here?
Decent Shroud. That's a pretty big Shroud to start things off here as well. But again, the Zaya looking completely unpressured. I think the board is spread here pretty well against what the Nomzy's going to do. Is this cast enough? It felt like oh, that second fireball, though, that just eliminated that corner. But the Zaya, again, pretty untouched. The Hecarim about to get another cast.
I think this is it, Admirable. And yes, it is. Ramblin dominates Game 1 in Lobby A.
Whew. Gosh, that just didn't even feel close from that spot. We're going to be jumping into another lobby here to keep things going right now. We have 3 lobbies in play here on day number 1, and jumping into lobby B, we're looking at Ace's perspective. There's a lot to absorb. We're down to top 3 players here, but that is a 3-star Sohm that I'm seeing on the other side. And let me tell you what, Crowan, I think that's going to be pretty tough to defeat.
Very tough. In fact, this lobby's still going on because Ramblin dominated lobby A so hard. We get a chance to digest what's going on here. Asa, oh, wow, okay. Wow. This is going to be a 3-star Ophelio. It's got a low-key Dark Flight, but no Swain angle. 4 Cannoneers. Kind of unorthodox in terms of how you're going to be playing Dark Flights, but it's working out well enough for Asa to at least top 3 this lobby, if not more. I
mean, top 3, I think, is a pretty strong lead to what's going on here as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the composition right now, and it's just sometimes I feel like the Dark Flight spells itself out, where it's just like you're being offered the Dark Flight units, you have the Zeeks early, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go this way. I have the right AD items for this. And when I look at the other boards, they just look stacked as well.
I think that, yeah, the rest of the boards are stacked. I'm just kind of processing Asa's spot here. I think Asa is one of the best players at making these. Yeah, sure, you're going to be taking elements of a kind of cookie cutter dark composition, but it's only those elements, right? How do you improve upon it from your specific spot? And we're kind of back a few patches ago when Zeke's was the thing that you were slamming, building dark flights out, and Asa's kind of back to those roots in a situation where it specifically works in.
Casper on the Soyfin here as well. I'm seeing his Zonias on the Xiaoyu, and those are some items that the Siphon is carrying as well. This feels like a tough one. I'm looking at the Shapeshifter buff there as well, where you're getting that extra attack speed.
Beast and look at the attack speed from the Siphon. It comes through very, very fast, but is it not fast enough? The Zonias.
I feel like the Xiaoyu just can't be taken down quickly enough.
No, the Zonia's actually resetting the aggro minutes. Let's gonna win the fight.
Wow. Dish Soap is now visiting, saying, hello. Who am I taking down
I won
next?
my fight. Oh, Asa goes down. This is stage 7. A lot of damage coming through.
Goodness gracious. This is not a Pandora's bench with a Soam 3 as well.
Oh, 466 Lagoon stacks.
I feel like every time I watch Dish Soap, he gets to this spot where it's like, how do you find this stuff? And it feels like he always does it comfortably as well.
Yeah. Dish Soap is a player that has had massive ladder success, but tournaments seems to have always fallen short. It's looking like it's time that Dish Soap is kind of dispelling that narrative and saying, no, even in tournaments, I can make it happen. Soam 3, beautiful way to do it.
The two items I'm looking at here right now is the positioning on this Siphon. It's not going to be touching the Soam right now. I'm seeing a Shroud hitting the Soam, which isn't a big deal. I'm looking at the Zonias there. It is not nearly enough. I tried to draw anything here that was going to draw it out, but it's just not even close.